So for decades, the world has been awe-inspired by the genius of German physicist Albert Einstein. Even today, scientists work tirelessly to uncover the secrets of the universe using much of Einstein's most significant discoveries from over 60 years ago, which is almost a lifetime in the world of scientific research. However, part of what made Einstein so interesting was that he was more than just a physicist. He asked big questions and had a lot to say about life. And that is how he was connected with his work. His musings on life and philosophies encapsulate a vast wisdom, both in doing your best work and finding meaning and purpose. So here are 5 pieces of wisdom from Albert Einstein on living life. Number 1, passion drives us to great heights. Now, Einstein used to say, I have no special talent. I'm only passionately curious. Einstein spoke often about the passion he felt for his work and the power of curiosity. Passion is incredibly important as it pertains to what you decide to devote your life to. With passion, you have an unlimited energy that keeps you going even despite great challenges. But more than that, we find joy in pursuing our passions because they're the things which deeply interest us. The vehicle of passion is curiosity, and that is deeply rooted in intuition, which is another quality that Einstein appreciated. So he said, find your passion and let your curiosity take hold and trust where it takes you. Nothing can replace the value of personal experience. Einstein said, reading after a certain age diverts the mind too much from its creative pursuits. Any man who reads too much and uses his brain too little falls into lazy habits of thinking. Just as the man who spends too much time in the theater is tempted to be content with living vicariously instead of living his own life. Now, Einstein experienced firsthand the effects of consuming large quantities of knowledge. He understood, though, through his work, that a large consumption of knowledge from books and not enough time spent applying knowledge was not productive. Knowledge can't replace your own personal experience. Whether you're trying to achieve something or crave a particular human experience, books, movies, articles, and videos are only a starting point. Take what you learn and apply it in your life to make these things a reality. Strive to be of value. Einstein always said, strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. A hard work ethic is important. However, the results you receive from that work are also heavily dependent on the state of mind while doing the said work. If you're trying to get something and your actions reflect trying to grasp hold of that thing, you're likely to be chasing it forever. However, if your actions are about providing value to others, which is giving instead of taking, which we call reciprocity here, and maximizing that value, you'll tend to receive back a greater value, what you might ironically call success or the elements of success. Because in a very basic sense, value has a currency. The greatest companies and people in the world are the ones who tend to provide the most value, at least based on what we as people value the most. That's not to say that success and money are what matter most, simply that the value you provide is the best effective benchmark of achievement and of the value you get from life, because it spurs you to create as opposing to take. Imagination is powerful. Einstein said, I am enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. Imagination tends to be highly underrated. However, it has a place in virtually every great human endeavor, from medicine to science and, of course, art. Einstein understood the value and power of imagination and used it as masterfully as anyone of his time. After all, what Einstein was doing was something no one else had ever done. He needed to look at things, at the fundamental elements of life, in an entirely new way, like piecing together a puzzle which no one else had ever solved. But we do the same thing in our life every day, even if you're not crafting the theory of relativity. Imagination allows us to figure out solutions to our problems, create new things of value in our career, business, or personal life, and see things in a different way that can open up a more balanced and healthy understanding of the world. And live a life of service. Einstein said, I believe in one thing, that only a life lived for others is a life worth living. Einstein was a deeply philosophical being who appeared to spend much of his time outside of his work contemplating the meaning of life. For that reason, he was acutely aware of the interdependence of human species and all reality. He understood that we are intrinsically connected, that what one person does affects many others, and that what we become, have done, and are to do will be the result of what many others have done in the past. Therefore, a life of service is far more than just helping a fellow human. It's about understanding that you'll have an impact one way or another, just as so many others have impacted you. So, to live a life worth living, you must make it your mission to contribute positively in some way. Now, what do we really know about Albert Einstein? Hair that would stump Vidal Sassoon, a lab coat that has seen better days, a very complicated set of theories that revolutionize the way we think about time and space and just about everything. Sure. But there is more to a genius than grooming and publications. Now, I'll share 5 fascinating facts that you probably didn't know about Albert Einstein. Einstein loved to rock. Physics may have rocked Albert's world, but music was his other passion. His mother was a pianist, and little Einstein took up the violin at age 6. He took to Mozart, Brahms, and Beethoven, and he liked to improvise. His second wife, Elsa, claimed she fell in love with him because of his beautiful playing, though some commentators do dispute his talent. And she said that music helped him when he was working on his theories. Einstein himself said late in life, "I know that the most joy in my life has come to me from my violin." He was batty about books. You think books are the domain of bored people? Think again. Before his contributions to science were recognized and he was given a university post, Einstein worked as a clerk at the patent office in Bern. At the same time, he was part of a reading group with 2 friends. They met in his flat and talked books and philosophy. They called themselves the Academia Olympia and discussed writers and thinkers like Hume, Spinoza, and Cervantes. Einstein later said that the sessions had a lasting effect on his scientific career. So the next time you feel tempted to pass on the glass of wine and the next book you want to read, wait, it could be really important. So go ahead and read. He was passionate about civil rights. Now, theoretical physicists aren't all handcuffed to their blackboards and calculators. In fact, Einstein, having moved to the USA when the Nazis were rising to power in Europe, became an active member in the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in Princeton. As a civil rights protester, he said in 1946 that racism was America's worst disease. He was also involved in anti-hate campaigns run by Civil Rights Congress. He hated publicity. We all know what Einstein looked like, right? Those eyes, that tongue. Well, that was the case back in his time too. He was frequently accosted in the streets by passerby who fancied a quick tutorial. Tired of providing scientific sound bites, he told the New Yorker that he used to respond in apologetic broken English. "Pardon me, sorry. Always I'm mistaken for Professor Einstein," and make a speedy getaway. And lastly, he was offered the presidency of Israel. Now, this isn't a habit, but it's revealing. After World War II ended, Einstein got involved with the United Nations alongside Winston Churchill, Bertrand Russell, and Mahatma Gandhi. And in 1952, the Prime Minister of the recently formed state of Israel offered him its presidency. He declined, saying that as a scientist trained to deal with objective facts, he lacked the aptitude and experience to deal with people and official functions, and that he was at once saddened and ashamed that I cannot accept it. He went on to help set up the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Moral: make like a genius and know your strengths. So thank you for everybody for listening, and thank you for Albert Einstein's theories and all the lessons that he's provided to us.